Große Hamburger Straße is a 400-meter-long street in the Berlin district of Mitte. With the development of the Spandau suburb, built around 1700, the road between Oranienburger Straße and the Poor Sinner Street, today Auguststraße, was made. On the map of 1723, it was listed as Hamburger Straße. In 1737, it was divided into Große and Kleine Hamburger Straße, which can be seen on the plan of 1738. In 1740, it was paved. The house numbers work on the principle customary in Berlin, which is known as horseshoe numbering, starting at the Auguststraße on the west side, 1 through 21, and on the eastern side of the Oranienburger Straße, 25 to 42. The oldest house dates from 1692. Standing here in a confined space with buildings hosting Jewish, Protestant, and Catholic life, it is known as Tolerance Alley. In memory of the atrocities committed here during the time of National Socialism, it is also known as the Road of Tolerance and of Death. King Friedrich Wilhelm IV granted the establishment of a Catholic hospital on 11 March 1844. In 1850, 160 patients and 40 orphans were moved into the new building on Große Hamburger Straße, designed by Vincent Stotz, who designed the Cologne Cathedral. In 1914, it was transformed into a military hospital. In 1939, war casualties came to St. Hedwig for healing and protection. The social worker Marianne Happig and the senior physician Dr. Erhard Lux began working to help persecuted Jews. In 1941, because of a typhus epidemic, the hospital became a quarantine home until the war ended. It also acted as a refuge for Jews. In the final siege of Berlin, the hospital was hit repeatedly by grenades. Nevertheless, it was one of the few functioning hospitals in Berlin. The Sophiankirche is an evangelical Protestant church. Designed by Philip Gerlach, on 18 June 1713, the church was dedicated as a Spandauische Kirche. It was first named after Sophie Louise von Mecklenburg-Schwerin under his successor, Frederick II, and has been called the Sophiankirche ever since. In 1891-92, the church was rebuilt. The surviving interior decoration is almost entirely from this restoration. On 13 September 1964, Martin Luther King Jr. preached two sermons in the packed Mariankirche and Sophiankirche. The congregation sang, "Let My People Go." Moses Mendelssohn was born in 1729 in the town of Dessau. In 1734, he moved to Berlin with no permit. Mendelssohn is considered to be the father of Jewish enlightenment. He thought of himself as a Jew all his life, but understood the importance of learning the culture of the society. To teach Jewish children German, he translated the only script he knew they would understand, the Torah, with German written in Hebrew characters. Mendelssohn is considered to be the most important Jewish New Age philosopher. In March 1771, Mendelssohn's health deteriorated so badly that his doctor decided his patient had to give up philosophy, at least temporarily. The cause of his disease was ascribed to the mental stress due to his theological controversy with Lavater. Mendelssohn was treated with china bark, bloodlettings on the foot, leeches applied to the ears, enemas, foot baths, lemonade, and mainly vegetarian food. He died on January 4, 1786, as the result, it was then thought, of a cold caught while carrying a manuscript to his publishers on New Year's Eve, resulting in the first case of publish and perish. Stolpersteine, German for stumbling blocks, are monuments created by Gunter Demnig to commemorate victims of the Nazis. While most Stolpersteine commemorate Jewish victims of the Holocaust, they were first placed for Sinti and Roma in 1992, and later for homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, Afro-Germans, members of the Communist Party and the Resistance, and the physically and mentally disabled. There are 19 on Große Hamburger Straße. A website lists all Stolpersteine in Germany, and there are links to all the names. House number 1516 was built in 1911 by Edmund Fuchs and is defined by its yellow color scheme, unique to this street. It currently houses a restaurant and apartments and is a listed monument. In the rear of the property, the garden house was destroyed by bombs during an air raid on February 3, 1945. In 1990, this gap was created by the French artist Christian Boltanski as the memorial of the missing house, in which he recalls the vanished inhabitants. While passing by, Boltanski saw the still empty lot and of curiosity began a comprehensive study. He was looking for information on the names of the residents and their employment for the period 1930 to 1945, when they had lived in the property. He also collected various papers on the property, such as letters, children's drawings, family photographs, information books, and other objects that could reflect the residents' former lives. Among other things, he found a number of unpaid rent collections that were sent to the Jewish resident Julian Schnapp even after he'd been deported to the concentration camp. The plaques list the names, profession, and birth dates of the former residents. There is no proof which, if any, died in the bombing. Since 1672, at the end of the street at the Oranienburger Straße was a Jewish cemetery, which closed in 1827. The most famous person interred here is Moses Mendelssohn, the only marked grave remaining. The headstones were removed and the cemetery desecrated by the Nazis. In 1984, a group of figures by Will Lammert, originally made for the Ravensbrück Memorial, were installed to recall the suffering of the 55,000 Jews who were deported from here to their deaths. On 11 April 1942, the Jewish school was closed and cleared on 30th June. The school and the adjacent nursing home were then run by the Gestapo as a transit camp to deport Jews to Theresienstadt and Auschwitz. Also buried here are 2,000